And with that, hello and welcome to another Thursday Live. We are winding down from an amazing live that we did with PEMFCon. And so, again, those of you that were a part of our PEMFCon, I want to thank you for turning out and experiencing all the great speakers that we had, in addition to all the questions that you had and your feedback. So those of you that attended, you get access to all of the recordings. You should have an email with that link. It's in your members area too, I believe. And then also access to the speakers. So some really great benefits as a part of being in the PEMFCon 2025. So moving forward, we're going to jump right into our November 20th AOPP Live, and it is titled From Sessions to Evidence, Building PEMF Credibility with Consistency and Outcome. Those of you that are hopping on and joining us live, feel free to jump into the comment section and ask any questions. But also, if it is afterwards, thank you for watching our live. If it's not post editing, sending it out, post production, and you're always welcome to ask a question, and we will definitely get to you as soon as we can. So building PEMF credibility with consistency and outcome. So one of the things we want to do is, break down how to prove your professionalism, but that's also those of you that are in some of the states where they want to crack down on people that are doing PEMF. This is a way of showing to them, proving to them that you know what you're doing and how to go about doing it. So we're going to have some consistent session habits, some simple outcome tracking that you can use in any setting, whether it's animal, human, or those of you that are really into history, plants. I can't imagine the agriculture company coming in and shutting you down because you're using PEMF on plants, but you never know. But the goal is to stay firmly in the wellness lane and show you what to document and then how to talk about it. So the language to use and how to move beyond. I think it helps to when people ask if PEMF is working in your practice. Let me jump over to the next slide. So one big thread that kept popping up last week during our live was, or our convention, was how we show up as professionals, not just people who own a device, which is, based on your territory, where you are, if you're in a clinic, if you're out in the pasture, what is it that you can do to continue to show your brand and professionalism in what you do. So that's part of what we want to talk about today. So why credibility is built on consistency. So at the PEMF Con, we talked a lot about standards, but what I want to show you today is how to start making your own standard operating habits in daily practice. So number one, consistency matters more than perfection. Some intake questions, some basic flow, some type of notes after each session is what we'll be talking about today. And again, credibility isn't just knowledge, it's about patterns. So when a client or other professionals see that you do things the same way in a very thoughtful way every time, then they relax. Like when you go to the doctor, that they're going to sit there and ask you, so they're going to weigh you, they're going to measure your height, they're going to ask you, take your blood pressure. Those are things that are always consistent across the board. So when you go there, you go, okay, they know what they're doing. And so those are some of the things we want to talk about too. And then we don't have to wait for a giant national registry to start behaving like professionals. So credibility starts with how you run today's sessions. And this is our recommendation to do if you're not already doing it, or if you already have something in place, that's great. This might make you think about changing things up a little bit, or if you're missing something, or if we're missing something, drop it in also and share, because that's a great way to continue to grow our profession and our national brand. So some consistent session habits that build trust. Number one, it's the intake. So versus, hey, John, how you doing today? Sit down, boom, put it on, turn it on, walk away 10 minutes. I mean, that's obviously not what you want to do, but that's the worst case scenario. The person's like, what is this? Why am I sitting here? Why am I feeling nauseous? Why is my pacemaker stopping? Those are the things that we want to stay away from. So always ask the same core questions. How are you hoping you will feel different? On a 0 to 10 scale, how would you rate your comfort or your stiffness or your energy today? Brief contraindication check. So any new diagnosis, implants, or changes from your clinician or vet. If that's in your standard, what we call a SOAP, subjective, objective, action, and prognosis. So if you create a SOAP note for that visit, those are like your leading questions to start out with. Either, you can have that just on a laminated card, and that's just what you say, and then write down anything that comes as a result of it. And then the documented session snapshot. So about 1 to 2 minutes after each visit, you can take time, just like a massage therapist does. When they're done, they'll go and they'll write, make notes of the session that they've done. But again, date, time, body area that was focused on, what the general intensity setting category was, and then the duration, and then their pre-post 0 to 10. How do you feel after we're done? If you are doing range of motion test again. Say they went from not being, only being able to go, 45 degrees in their arm to all the way to the 180 degrees that they can do. So range of motion wise. And then, again, their sensitivity. So they're subjective on that, because they're not going to remember. Again, if you don't write it down, it doesn't exist. Oftentimes I will with my patients when I do a re-exam is I show them the difference from when they came in to where they are today. And for example, range of motion of the neck, I'll measure rotation. 80 is normal. And they may have come in at 60 degrees. So they have like a 20-degree deficit, and I'll measure them. This time they're 75. And I'll say, well, you're measuring 75 degrees in right rotation. When you first came in, you were 60. So we've improved your range of motion 15 degrees. We still have another 5 to go. And that's great information to them, because in their world, they're probably turning their body a little bit and cheating out to get that full range of motion. Now they've got, that deficit they may not even be aware of. So, and then always wrap up with any changes you notice right now. So you want them to tune into their body and explain what's going on, because if they're going through life just what they see through their eyes and not truly experiencing inside their body what's going on, that's what's going on. And then of course with animals, you ask the owner, are you noticing any changes with them? But again, anything feel off or uncomfortable, here's when I'd like to see you next, and here's what we're watching for. So again, what's the goal when you're sitting down with somebody for the first time and they've got back pain? I would like you to be, I'd like this to be able to help you with your back pain, to eliminate it. I'd like it to increase your range of motion. I want you to feel less stiff in the morning when you stand up, and to go through your whole day without it bothering you. So those are the goals. How much PEMF can help with that, we're not sure, but as long as you're continuing to improve with each session, let's continue to do that. So my plan for you would be blank. Part 2 is the simple outcome tracking for real world evidence. So if you can pick 1 to 3 simple metrics, I was talking a little earlier about that, but the perceived comfort and stiffness, that's strictly from them. And they may go, I've got a high pain tolerance. It's like, great. Okay. 0 means no pain at all. 10 is the worst pain you could ever imagine. Not what I could ever imagine for you, but what is your worst pain that you've ever had? And where are you today? Well, I'm at a 1, but I've got a high pain tolerance. Okay. Well, if today is a 1, what would it be that would be a 10? Maybe have them say it out loud, because some people, have a badge of honor, like, I've got a high pain tolerance. Okay, well, you could still have a 9 as far as pain. It's just that you're ignoring it or you're masking it with medication. So, it brings those conversations in. Ease of movement. Yeah, I've got a high pain tolerance. Okay, well, let's do range of motion. I want you to sit and turn your body. You're really stiff. Oh yeah, I've always been stiff. It's because it hurts. You learn all of these things, and then they catch themselves saying it out loud. They go, wow, I didn't realize I couldn't do that because of the pain. And again, measuring these things after a session, if you've increased their range of motion 5-10 degrees from what they had, that's a win. And they need to see that, feel that, and know that your device on them for that session caused it. Again, perceived energy, readiness for activity. So, I woke up yesterday, I wanted to stay in bed, versus like, man, I woke up, it's like, I'm moving pretty good. I got up and I did the dishes, or, I went out and, did X work, or, like we were experiencing with animals, like the dog that was out sheep herding. Obviously some of you that know this, you put the pup back in the dog. And so it was up running around as if it was like, what happened to my old dog? And they're running around like a new leash on life. So those are the things that you want to write down, and combine the handler or trainer observations, just some simple notes. Doesn't have to be a huge paragraph on something. And again, you don't have to write things down. You can just say it right into your phone and then have that transcribed later. Or you can just do a digital folder and just, copy and paste your Audible into that too, especially if you are getting information from a handler or trainer and you want to give the information to an owner. So if they, want to see a nice layout of what's going on, it just depends on your relationship and how many animals you're processing too. And then track over time, not just before and after one session, because that's where you really see it. And again, in our notes, when we are doing re-exams and with each visit, we have all of that information so we can see over time what's going on. If there's an increase in pain on a like for me with a patient, it's like things got worse. What was it that you did? Well, I went out and washed the car, or my wife and I, went for a hike. Just what was it that they added to their world that was different that may have caused the spike, or they started a gym membership, or, what was it that the animal did? Did they have some restless nights? Was there, a storm or something like that? So it gives you an idea as far as what's going on. But again, encouraging you to have even 10, 20 cases with simple notes is better than nothing. And again, it establishes your professionalism, kind of what we're talking about. But it's the pattern across 4 to 6 visits. So how to log it in? Again, super simple. If you can kiss it, the better. Sean, you're popping up with a question with far as what device. It could be any device. If you're talking about a PEMF device, they could be any device. Or if you're talking about, how to log things in, again, we can talk about that off platform here. But how to log it in, again, Spiral Notebook. So if you got one of these guys, you can, write in what's going on, and each day is you just put the day's date at the top, and then your notes for the day can go there. Basic spreadsheet. So if you've got a phone and you just want to type stuff in, or you've got an iPad or something like that, you can do that too. And then simple online form. You can fill in yourself for each visit, like I talked about, and then emphasizing um, uh, anonymize things if needed. You don't have to have people's names if you want to just keep it generic there and just have initials. Sometimes a first name and an initial for the last name works, but keep it basic and keep it consistent. This is a very interesting question from Linda. What do you use to clean your coils? Well, I'm only doing humans, and I'm in a clinic, so we just use a basic wipe. Like the hand wipe. You just pull it off and wipe it down. Don't really need to use any harsh chemicals on it because it'll tear down or wear down the wrapping of the coil over time. Those of you that are out in the field, you can chime in. What do you use when you're out in the muddy fields or you're in the pastures and you got grass and dirt and stuff all over your coils? What is it that you use to clean things up? That's a great question. Here's what not to do. We told you what to do, what not to do. So don't label columns with disease names or make cure claims. So it's something where that's where it can run into a problem. So you're, obviously you're not trying to do anything wrong and you're just, making notes of that. You can say the client is talking about blank or the trainer's talking about the animals blank, but it can't be from you, and you can't say hematoma, lipoma, carcinogenic tissue, or it has to be more broad based than that. Or even tell them well, let's do these sessions because we know that after 20 sessions, your cancer will be gone. It's those of you that are been along for the ride as long as you have with us know that, but those of you that are just starting, your product maker, or there may be a video of somebody saying, hey, it reduces cancer, reduces the cause of cancer. You can't have any of that in your notes and stuff because it hasn't been proven yet. Double blind, study. As you notice, there isn't any medication out there that says it cures cancer either. Because that, if somebody believes you and finds out and has somebody or an animal that dies as a result of the cancer, you told them it was going to cure it. So now you're on the hook. And you bring everybody else down that's using PEMF. So, and then when you talk about stuff, as far as, does this work? You say, oh my God, I had this person come in, they walked in and they walked out, blank. If you go to a medical doctor and you say, well, what's going on? They say, well, you got this. These are, we've got some people that this happens to, other people this happens to. We're not sure yet. That's why we want to get started and move forward with blank and then do a checkup in 30 days. That's kind of the standard medical, but that's what you're expecting. And if you hear that from a PEMF practitioner, it's like, well, what is this all about? Well, PEMF has been known to reduce inflammation, to increase stem cells, if you're a science geek, it goes way down into the mitochondria, helps reoxygenate, create all of that. And in your body, there's probably some of this stuff going on. So what we want to do is do a couple of sessions, see if we can reduce that swelling and reduce the pain, and to make that pain number go down and increase your range of motion. So those are some of the basics, and that way you're not giving them a whole bunch of expectations for cures. But again, I've had people where we put it on afterwards, they felt absolutely nothing. And I've had people show up and their swelling and redness went down after 10 minutes. And so there is a spectrum of results. And if the person knows that there's a spectrum, then, and they still say yes to that, then that's where you want to be with that too. Hey, we got an answer here. So Kimberly uses a 10 to 20% alcohol water mix on a rag wipe if needed, and from when using on animals to clean the coils. and she's had her coils for 2 years and it hasn't hurt them. So there you go. There's some good advice for you, Linda. And then let's jump on to our comment section. For those of you that are live right now and those of you that are watching, from what I've said so far, or from what you currently do, if you could drop one type of metric that you could start tracking this week, whether it's comfort, mobility, energy, performance, or something else. I just saw my monitor went down for a second, so I don't know if we lost you guys for just a second, but we're back up. So Angie talks about using antibacterial wipes, and she also has the covers. So some of you have options where you can buy covers that go over the coils, so that way you just pull those off. Then you can do that, use that area. And then Kimberly is talking about tracks mobility and performance. So again, keep it consistent. When you show up, the owners, handlers know that that's what you're tracking, and that ties in directly with what we're talking about today too. All right, let's jump into part 3 and turning the data into credible communication. So now you've been out there, talking to people, been writing things down, and when you go and you meet people for the first time, or even your current clients, now you've got some information. And what do you do? In the human side, it's like we've done 6 sessions now. Your comfort scores went from 7 out of 10 down to 3 to 10 most days. Let's talk about what that means for your activities. And then staying inside scope. So a vet stays inside their scope. Doctors stay inside their scope. I wouldn't, even begin to tell somebody what to do with their horse or their dog, other than my observations. Like, wow, they're up and moving around. That swollen area is less. That's the things that I can comment on. But just so you're aware, we've been providing PEMF sessions aimed at comfort and mobility support. Over 6 visits, the client reports less stiffness and better tolerance for their normal activities. That's a great way of summarizing what your overall session has been. And kind of ties in with what Kimberly was talking about too. So with that, I want you to remember that you're not diagnosing or treating disease. You are reporting patterns in how clients feel, whether they're animals or humans, and function within your wellness lane or the wellness lane. So that's the pattern that builds credibility over time. And that's what you want. You want to be credible. And of course, with what we've got going on, our becoming a member, learning all the stuff that we have, getting certified, then you also have the knowledge that goes along with that. And that is going to continue to build this as more members become PEMF providers and users. We've been doing this at least 10 years that we've been out doing this, but we still haven't even touched the surface, as far as PEMF. And, now it's been able to be created and in other countries. Like I said, we are a international organization, 17 countries that we are a part of. And these countries are using our certification program to train their people so that they can go out, and there's other manufacturers in other countries, and they have partnered with us to use our training program so that when they sell a PEMF product, our training goes with that so that they don't have to do that. So there's a lot of great things going on. And those of you that are jumping in watching our Thursday lives, which is why we do this, is why we don't hide them behind anything, so that you are using your PEMF. You may not be a member of what we've got or have any kind of training or certification through the person or company that sold you your device. That's what we're all about. We're trying to unify everything because we wanted to be in a position so that when the states finally wake up and see what is this PEMF thing, somebody on their board isn't going to say, shut them down. It's like, well, no, we've been around. We've got all these people. This is what they're doing. they go, wow, we didn't even know about AOPP. And when we get there and talk about what we're doing and how we're helping prevent these fears that they have, and that's really all it is, it's just a fear that they, have of this unregulated product, that it really is regulated and that it's being done professionally, and that they don't have to worry about us. So that's the main thing. So the practitioner challenge, again, credibility isn't something you wait for someone to hand you. It's something you build visit by visit. And again, consistency, simple tracking turns, I think this helps, into here's what we've actually seen in my practice or my business. And then credibility, again, is what helps grow your business and our industry. So if we have all of you out there getting these great outcomes, you've been tracking it, and share those with us, we're able to go out and meet with all of the state organizations and saying, here's what our practitioners are doing. They're tracking this, they're getting all this data. Here's the before and after. So we have all these things to present. So the things you share with us too, again, helps all of us out. And again, thank you very much for your time today. And again, we've been talking about from sessions to evidence, building PEMF credibility with consistency and outcomes. And our whole goal today has been trying to help those of you that are just getting started in this profession, those of you that have been doing it for a while. We hear you, we see you, and again, thank you for all of your suggestions. And you should be getting from our from AOPP a survey of the PEMF Con that we just did. What you like to see, what were some things that either didn't make sense, or it's like, no, let's not do that again. But I think overall, I mean, there wasn't anything that any of our speakers were doing where it's like, I'd like to have all of them back again if they can do that. If those of you that are watching this for the very first time, if you're thinking about, what is PEMF, what's AOPP, find out about us. You can become a member. You get certified in small animal, large animal, human, infrared. We have all of those on standby, waiting for you to go through the course and get certified. If you have any questions about us, if you have any tips, things that you're finding that we haven't had a chance to talk about, or that we may not even know about, that you're discovering, send us all that information to info@pemfprofessionals.com. You can help us out by sharing today's broadcast. We're broadcasting live on our LinkedIn channel, on our YouTube channel, and our Facebook channel. If you want to go to those places and like them, but then also share what you've got, like and share, that helps us spread our algorithms and reach more people that are looking for us that don't even know we exist. So that helps us too. So with that, I want to thank you so much. And again, thanks for being part of PEMF Con 2025. We will not be on air next week here in America. We have a holiday where we eat as much pumpkin pie as we can, or pecan pie if you're a pecan pie eater. Again, thank you so much. So we'll see you again in 2 weeks. We'll have a 3-part series. We've got it percolating, so hopefully we'll be able to get that all put together for you and start sharing that with you in December. So again, take care, and thank you so much.